The request was that you thought of your own example of a song that somehow represents Canada, is representative of Canada. Why don't you share some of the ones that you came up with?
Song so much.
Oh, Canada? Was that somebody's choice?
That was my choice. I thought of it first. I win.
Canadian girls.
What?
Canadian girls.
Canadian Girls?
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Who is the singer?
Dean earlier.
Oh, okay. Is he Canadian?
I mean, if
Yeah.
Okay. Canadian songs. Yes.
Soldiers Cry.
Soldiers Cry.
Yeah, it's a remembrance of the song.
God Save the
Oh.
Queen.
It's a Canadian remembrance song.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's British.
Oh no.
But you can use. We use that in America.
Who else?
Canada.
Pop song.
A hockey song?
Stop and jump counter.
Oh, is it the Good Old Hockey Day? Is that one? Hockey song. Sure, what else? Okay, but everybody was supposed to try to bring their own, so what else?
I have Wheat Kings, that's correct.
Wheat Kings, I was waiting for something other than country. Wheat
Does
Kings,
God Save the Queen count?
tragically,
Oh, I hate that.
excuse me, stop,
Almost every song.
full stop, what?
I don't like the tragedy. It's just.
Okay.
I've never heard of him, but I'm
Macy?
gonna stay with Jamie.
What?
Jaden needs a new place to sit.
I don't need a new place to sit. Why?
Okay, I'm sorry, but I have a hard time here. Tragically here. Who else?
Stronger beer.
Stronger beer. Now, this is grade 12. Mature stuff we can include here.
Yep, that's what I said.
You didn't make eye contact when you said it, but I'll accept it. Singer-songwriter? Singer-songwriter? Okay. Girls, some examples. Ain't it grand? How is it Canadian? Because I'm not aware of it.
Oh, it talks about Canada, like the whole song is just about being in Canada.
And who sings it?
Gord Bamford.
Gord Bamford. Like that? Bamford?
Oh, yep. Like
Lexi?
Alberta Brown.
Ooh, yeah. That is a
does
really
it count?
old
Can
song
it be
now.
about a province?
It can be a broad
The
province.
last Saskatchewan Pirates.
Yes, I
Captain
was
Tractor.
waiting to hear about that too. Anybody else want to add one? Got her? Got her covered?
Convoy.
Luke?
No, that's a.
What? What?
All hell for a base.
All hell
Convoy.
That is true.
for a basement.
They mention Alberta and Convoy.
Okay.
It does.
Okay. Now, with your answer, did you do this part of it? Explain what it mentions or refers to about Canada? So just confirm, when you're answering questions like this, especially when it's going to contribute to the grade, find a song about Canada and list it, but then explain how does it refer to or what does it say about Canada. On from there, you would have, did you listen to the Canadian Idiot song?
Yep. I've heard it before.
You're familiar with it?
Yeah.
Okay. So you have circles and underlines. There's things that you would have discussed. For example,
I didn't get to this part.
no? Like when we were first, in the first pages that we were doing, on the first page where you were here, the things that you were commenting and bringing up collectively here, the idea is that you'll populate it further here with things that you didn't bring up. And so you can have that page open, and it's things like, did we mention hockey? And if you didn't have it on the left side, now you can write hockey on the right side. You could talk about I think we talked about how cold it was. We didn't mention the alphabet, that we say Z and they say Z. We did talk about donuts, and I think we brought up moose. I don't remember if guns were mentioned. color, the U, but I don't think that that's included in here, but you can also add that to the right side of your page 1, right? We didn't bring up our Monopoly money.
I had fun.
Did you write that? It wasn't, I don't think it was shared, but yeah. So it's the stuff that you didn't initially write. So it's the U in words like color or neighbor. Americans don't include it. Canadians and British people do. It's the alphabet saying alphabet Z versus Z. It's our colored money, colorful money. But we did bring up, I think we brought up hockey, or most of you would have had hockey on there. We didn't bring up guns, some restrictions or whatever.
They can bring guns into like malls
In America, it's, what do they call it? Card and carry or something? Like you can just walk around with it on your hip. What else do we have? What's that?
It'd be considered a concealed weapon.
Yes. We did mention maple syrup, but we didn't talk about curling as a real sport. We didn't talk about our accent. We didn't bring up our national health care, which, is, some people use it to, whatever. Great. I'm just saying the ones that were shared as collectively as a group, this medications, some people buy prescription medication online and have it sent to them in the States for lower rates or lower crime rates. We mentioned, what's his name? Drake, but we didn't mention Celine Dion, Zambonis, Celsius instead of Fahrenheit, right? So these are some of the other things that Canadians are kind of comically known for, the differences, right?
We do say sorry a lot, don't we?
But again, we're not the only apologetic people, but it is pretty common, and we just kind of laugh at it. So how many people got to like that part and they're done? Done?
Yeah.
How many of you, now you'll see in your paperwork that these names have strike through them, meaning I didn't want anybody to fill in this chart, but I did want you to read, like I said here, read through the artist profiles and then answer these questions. So how many of you have read the artist profiles? So some of you have that to do. And how many of you have actually answered these? So that's where we are. Okay.
I don't think you've seen those. There must have been a second page.
Well, what I wonder is that this was there like that, and that's 100%. But then, sorry, did that take you to class?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
No, I think
it
they're
took lots of
past
people.
that part is what they're at, right?
It took most of us the whole class. I finished with like 10 minutes left.
Okay, whatever. That's on me because it was a medical thing, so whatever. Okay. If something like that happens again, and Mr. George, for example, and you've got 10 minutes left of class, just turn the page and keep going, okay? Now, we've talked as well and said that we want to work on some writing skills, and it's not a single person in this room that can't benefit from that. So this here is an example of something that I'm removing, but I'm going to include just a single paragraph, and we'll come back to this and use this source to practice writing one of those paragraphs. So if you go, and I'm sorry for the way it printed because, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think if you go on to, you guys have, flip ahead in your booklet, you have the article, the Voices in the Hall Top 10 Recording. I don't think it printed out very well for you because I think it should have printed landscape version and it didn't. So can you find it in your booklet? Yeah. So are we saying some of you started reading this or none of you? Well, one of you may have read it. So we can start here. Does that sound fair? Okay. All we're going to do here is I'm not going to ask you to pull any specific details. We're just going to go through. Someone has compiled a list of, typical Canadian singer-songwriters, and this is the list that they've put together here. And top 10 they call it though, so you can kind of question the title. Here. Okay, growing up in Winnipeg in the early 60s was an amazing time. My world changed when the Beatles performed on the Ed Sullivan Show, February 9th, 1964. For me and thousands of others, it was a religious experience. The brilliance of their songwriting and their distinct playing ability set a new standard in popular music. I got my first break as a drummer performing with the band Musical Odyssey. And I have to close this again because it won't move.